astronaut people.
Regular people have been to space?
Well, not you know, there's astronaut people who do the training stuff and they have like military or engineering backgrounds or both. And then there's like the people who paid money to to the go to the space.
Go to the space.
Go
Everybody's going to the space, but not me, because I can't
I
fly.
want to go to space, but it's expensive. Cheaper than it used to be, but it used to be a crazy amount of money. Now it's just a lot of money. Yeah. There used to be a time that if you had like, 20 million bucks in your pocket and you're just wandering around and you're bored and you're like, what am I going to do with this 20 million? And someone says, go to space. You're like, all right, fine. I am not a scientist, but I can play one on TV. How you doing, Kavi? Saturday Night Live. That's a TV show here in the States. Had a very, 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 very funny skit. Probably one of my favorite ones. And the guest host was Alec Baldwin. And he was playing an actor who who performs as a surgeon on a daytime soap opera TV show. And he only has to look good doing it, but he's absolutely horrible. He gets all the terminology wrong. He pronounces all the body parts wrong and he pronounces them in very vulgar ways, but he doesn't know it. He's just very inept at anything to do with medical science, but he's performing the role of a surgeon, like a really good surgeon. And the joke is that he gets nothing right, but he's the best. the I'm not talking about that. Hmm. I'm still not exactly sure. We're we're talking about space tourism, and we're also talking about astronauts. And as as Kavi said, astronauts, they were the best of the best. They were put through rigorous tests and incredible study, and they were voluntarily signing up to be launched into the unknown, riding upon the unknown, and that was a special caliber of person. But also, as Kavi also mentioned, space has opened up to a much wider audience. People who can literally just buy a ticket and off you go. And you get to go do that thing that the other people had dedicated their lives to do. You just write the check and see you in March. And so our episode today, I guess, is about I don't know. Is it what at what point do you stop being an astronaut and start being a tourist? Or vice versa? Mhm. Mhm. Right. Mhm. Mhm. Right. Right. Absolutely. It was, I fighter pilots are a special group, a special class of people, and they make their living strapping themselves into a small cockpit, wearing clunky gear and very limited space. There's not a lot of wiggle room inside a cockpit even today, and they like to be strapped in there and become one with a giant multi-ton machine that goes at incredible fast speeds, and if they pull the stick a certain way they can feel the blood pouring out of their ears, and they're crazy and they love it and they're phenomenal at it, and so of course they'll take the challenge. And it was a very specific group of people that first got into a rocket. They needed to know that these are human beings who have proven that their physical body can withstand the punishment of intense g forces, lack of oxygen. They're able to handle disorientation well. They can hear things even if the sound or the atmosphere around them is all muddled up with other noise, or through some foggy conditions. Absolute insanity. And that was what the beginning of the space race was. We were we knew we're putting people on top of what was until then missiles, and and we needed to make it work. We There was a great fear even of falling asleep in space. The first person to fall asleep in space was a Russian cosmonaut. Um, he thought he died because there was no plan really in place that he might fall asleep. He just knew he was going to be up there for a while, and he woke up with his arms just floating in front of him, and he didn't know why. I mean, this is you have to be literally prepared for anything, including waking up and your arms are floating in front of you. I know, right? No, be calm, cool, professional the whole time. It's fascinating. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Yeah, it's it's entirely new vehicle. Uh, uh, Something that always amazes me with all the brand new technology that was created to send people to space, both in the United States and the Soviet Union, with all the new doodads and whatever they've created, both programs still had one singular radio channel open to the astronaut's helmet. And in that singular channel, all the different people who were in charge of all the different aspects of the rocket flight were all speaking openly, like a chat line on a telephone. Yeah, you got the 20 people speaking at the exact same time. So not only are you in a weird environment, flashing lights and whatever all around you, on a rocket going into space, blah blah blah, you got 20 people shouting in your ear, and you have to be able to pick out what's important and what's directed to you. And this was common for both platforms, the US and the Soviet platform. And again, how you're able to filter all this out, it's a phenomenal, phenomenal thing. Nowadays, it's very, very, very different. There's still a lot of people speaking, but you can have private channels and you can um, speak one on one. You can speak electronically now. You can send text messages or emails and stuff from space. Uh, but yes, I did. Yes, I did. And the part that flipped me out was uh, before I saw the news that it was just a training exercise and everybody's fine on the ISS. The first thing I saw was there was a decompression event for someone going on an EVA and they were in danger. And I bought it hook, line, and sinker because Boeing Starliner is up there right now as well. And Boeing Starliner has gone through just a myriad of delays and problems for a decade, and it's finally up there. And it even had problems right up to the moment it was trying to dock with ISS for the very first time the other day. So when I saw there's a decompression event, I'm like, oh my God, Boeing broke the whole thing. But no, everyone's fine because Mhm. Ugh, that's that's crazy. Again, a testament to the training these people go through. Even when they're on the job, they're pr- they're, they're practicing for worst case scenarios. I would love to hear this. Yes. I I love it. I love it. It's like a very happy Total Recall without the murder, and you come back for tacos. Oh. Yeah. That's crazy. That's funny. I love these things. I love these things we do. Great idea. Right. Yeah. I had the pleasure of speaking with an astronaut several years ago. I forget his name. Forgive me. Um, but he told me that I am already in perfect condition to ride the space shuttle. It it is not much worse than the hardest roller coaster you've ever been on. It just lasts several minutes longer, but it's not much more stressful. And they did go through all sorts of training to prepare themselves for this event and that, and none of it ever really came to bear because the flight was relatively smooth. A lot of pressure, maybe get a good back crack, maybe, but other than that, you're up and running. And uh, he was actually quite tall, about as tall as me. I'm 6'5", and he told me that nowadays anybody can fly. When we were talking about the very first astronauts before, both the United States and the Soviet Union, they chose relatively short pilots because the space inside the capsule that they were launching was very, very small. They couldn't have someone my size in there, but they could have someone who's like between 5'6", 5'10", and put them in there. Nowadays, it really doesn't matter how tall you are. I'm sure within reason it matters, but I don't think Shaquille O'Neal is going to go up. But uh, it doesn't matter how tall you are. The seats are very contoured to your body to make sure it's comfortable, as opposed to some kind of odd solid little plexiglass thing that was sort of conformed to fit to your body. And now it's you just need to have a legitimate reason to go to space. And if you're good in your field, if you have a experience in whatever it is you're working on, some new technology or some new research, and they'll send you just you can get a ride to space to further your research or your exploration. And it's very easy. There's a nice, comfortable place to stay up there now until Boeing breaks it. God forbid. 5. Yes. Mm, I'm a few centimeters higher than that. Yeah, I'm like 198 or 199, something like that. That's just, I don't have good posture anyway. Another thing that I found interesting that was different between in the 80s anyway, the United States had a space shuttle and the Russians had Soyuz. When the space shuttle landed, it landed like an airplane did. It came in, it lined up with the runway, it slowly glided towards the runway, wheels came out, touched down, nose down, and it rolled gently to a stop. Very nice. And the Russian Soyuz, it came down with parachutes and smacked into the ground quite hard. Obviously, you can survive it because then they wouldn't be more cosmonauts. But so speaking of requirements for people who go to space in Russia, if you're going to go be flying Soyuz, you had to have your teeth had to be of a certain classification. If you were too strong of too severe of an overbite, underbite, whatever, that impact, you're going to bite down hard and you can ruin your teeth and it can cause damage to your head. So they actually, people with too extreme uh, dental work couldn't go, which I found fascinating when I found out about it. And it's true. When you hit down, you're going to crack your teeth. Hmm. Hmm. Yep. He can kill you, bring you back to life in space. This guy is everything. I'm sure they're fine. And he was a Navy SEAL, so this man feels no pain. Yeah. I think the space program would have moved along much faster if they only recruited Navy SEALs. They don't have to worry about pain or helmets or anything. These guys can just take it. Mhm. Not necessary. Hmm. Or engineering. That's a big one. That's a huge one. Yes. Hmm. Mhm. Absolutely. It's not. It, it's uh for gosh, I forget the name of the astronaut who went up there and stayed up there for a full solid year. Scott Kelly. And one of the twins, exactly. He spoke about all they again going back to what just happened at ISS. They had a drill in which they prepared to see what would happen if somebody got decompressed, whatever. They also had evacuation drills, and they also have regular, excuse me, evacuation drills. Um, Evacuation drills are simple. Everybody knows which vessel that's connected to ISS that they're assigned to go to. Um, it could be a Soyuz capsule, it could be a SpaceX capsule, maybe now one day soon a Starliner capsule. Um, and you go to your respective little capsule, and you strap in and you wait. And during his year on uh, uh, um, the space station, uh, there were several times where for a drill, and also when there was space debris coming their way, they actually, not a drill, this is an emergency, everyone go to your capsule, and they would go in whatever they were wearing, shorts and a Hawaiian shirt, or whatever pajamas they had on, or their work outfit, or whatever it is. Maybe they're just still wearing their sweatpants and t-shirt from working out in the little weird zero G gym that they have up there. But they would just go there and strap in and wait to maybe get hit or maybe not. And for me, being hundreds of miles up in space and sitting in a capsule waiting to maybe get hit, I think I would be losing my mind because there's a chance of death coming towards me. But he spoke of it, Scott Kelly, as some of the most boring time he had in the space station, when you have to sit there and you can't do anything and wait to hear back from mission control or Houston or whatever, that okay, it's clear, you can get out of your seat, go back to doing what you're doing, turn everything back on, whatever it was. And that type of calm is it's a special thing. Absolutely, we could all use a little astronaut training. It is. All right, and now we have people who have gone through none of this training that can just go at will. Well, kind of at financial will. Hmm. It is wild. Mhm. Can get there. I do know that the price for a private flight has gone down a lot as well. The very first time uh, somebody paid for a ride to space was $20 million, and that was uh, golly, was that the 90s? Yes, 1990 exactly. Actually, no, Dennis Tito was 2001. 1990 was the very first civilian person sent to space from Japan. He was sent as a reporter, I guess you could say, from a Japanese broadcasting company, and his name was Toyohiro Akiyama, and about $20 million, same price Tito paid. Uh, he got a ride on the Soyuz, and he went to Mir just to check it out, see what's going on, and have a look see. And he didn't really do much, didn't really participate in much. He went through some serious training though, as opposed to Dennis Tito, who didn't really go through much training at all. In 2001, he just, here's 20 mil. He went to his first person to go to space, to International Space Station as a tourist, and nobody there wanted him there because, yeah, what are you supposed to do? He's this guy who's in the way, who's in the middle of everybody's business, and they didn't like that. Nowadays, the cost of a flight are significantly cheaper. Um, Gosh, what is Blue Origin's ticket price? I want to say 100 something thousand or more. 150,000, I would say. It's not cheap, and you're not doing anything cool like going to a destination. You're going into space, you're there for 15 minutes, you come back down. You get to see the Earth, you get to see the curvature. William Shatner beautifully got that overview effect and came down just stunned, and that was beautiful to watch. Uh, but yeah, the pricing is, it's much cheaper. I don't know how much Inspiration 4 cost. That was the first all civilian spacecraft to go, and that happened a few years ago in 2021. Was it 21? Um, it was an all civilian spacecraft. Yeah, I know. That was weird. Let's not do that again. But it was the first all civilian space flight, Inspiration 4, and it went to Earth orbit for 3 days. And golly gee, I forget. I want to know how much it cost. But it had a brand new cupola on the top with this. The International Space Station has a cupola, and it's comprised of 7 windows or ports. There's one circular one surrounded by 6 trapezoidal ones that kind of put together with some very thick framework, like a a geodesic dome of sorts, I guess. But the cupola on the SpaceX Inspiration 4 was one big smooth marble, I guess you could say. And that's just something special. I don't know how much it costs. My favorite thing about that cupola, though, in SpaceX, that's where the bathroom is in in the Dragon capsule. Uh, let's say that the cupola is in the middle of the ceiling, and the ceiling has a bunch of compartments as in the walls, as all spacecraft generally do these days. You maximize space. Everything's a compartment for something. And near the cupola is where they have a little door where you open it up, and there's your, I guess, your rudimentary toilet and a little something to help you wash up. And there's a curtain that you pull across the top of the spacecraft. So you're privately up there taking care of business, but you also have the best view ever. The best view. It would. Going back to the original, astronauts in the very beginning, the first people who were, shared a capsule together, back to the Apollo days when they were going out into space and they were orbiting around for days at a time, or they would make the first trip to the moon and back without touching whatever. Um, they had to report back on everything in the spacecraft, how this handled, how this worked, and how this performed. And a big complaint was we don't have uh, a bathroom, a place to put our stuff, because it got to a point where the inside of a spacecraft was starting to get streaky. But nowadays, it's much better. On the International Space Station, there's a proper bathroom you can go into. The space shuttle had a bathroom you can go into, and it, it's much more relaxed now. China's space station has very nice bathroom. Oh, luxurious marble. You'll love it. It's not marble. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Hmm. Right. Hmm. Yeah. There was that Japanese billionaire who had, what was it, the Project Moon uh giveaway, or it was canceled recently. Uh, but the the story behind it I love. The idea was that he wanted to bring artists to space and to go do a loop around the moon. And he wanted writers, he wanted musicians, he wanted photographers, he wanted painters, uh, people to go on this incredibly exclusive adventure. Nobody has been to the moon that's not military, not yet. And these are people who went there as part of the space race, and they went there, to represent our country. Someone had to be first. But now the idea is they want to send someone there who can communicate back the awesomeness of space travel and what the moon looks like in person to the general public. And that is a fantastic thing. I think Jeff Bezos is, as we was with our previous guest, Demos, who used to work for Blue Origin. Um, it seems a little ridiculous at first. People paying a ridiculous amount of money to go on this weird looking rocket and go to space for 15 minutes and come back down. But what they're also doing is they're proving the reusability of these things. They're proving that it can launch with a specific kind of fuel that it could be created with regolith from the moon. And it's they're making it the technology that they need to get there is getting cheaper, and the not just the technology is getting cheaper, but more and more people are getting interested in it. The prices are going down very slowly, but they're going down, therefore kind of making it more possible for more people to go. And Bezos is also showing that your age isn't the factor anymore. Your weight isn't the factor anymore. Your height isn't the factor anymore. They're sending people up there who are old, people who are long since retired, and it's possible. I think that the true cowboy astronauting is going to be reserved for the more treacherous type things, first person to Mars or first person to set up a moon base, the people that go there and do the actual physical engineering of something new. But setting up a hotel, that seems, I don't want to say easy, but it seems easy in comparison. Right. It should be pretty cool. Room service might be weird, but it seems entirely doable and possible. Either have a huge skill set and the willingness to get your body beaten to a pulp, or write a big check. Yeah. Yeah. There are actually a great many private rocket companies springing up all around the world. Um, Small little startups that just want to see just for scientific curiosity, what's the minimum we need to send a 1 cubic centimeter object from the ground into space. I mean, these things are happening, and uh, people are trying to do other things as well with weather balloons. There's uh, there's this idea for a space hotel or even a space restaurant that will take you up on a weather balloon really high up, so you see the curvature of the Earth, and you hang out there for a day or two, and then the whole thing just pops and comes down, and you come down in a parachute in luxury. These Ha! Sorry. That was gotta be the best joke we've done yet. That was gold. Bravo, bravo. right, that's it. Leave while you leave while you have them laughing. I have been your other host, Benjamin. And you can find me still recovering from that really hard laughter at Science Actually on Facebook or Science Actually on LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Hive, Mastodon. I'm sure I forgot one. Threads is a good one, I guess. I don't know. Uh, Go check us out. And don't forget, please, please, please check out our TikTok channel, our YouTube channel, and if you have any suggestions for something you'd like us to talk about, please send it to us. If you have any questions for us that you'd like answered on the air, please send them to us. If you have just surplus cash, please send it to us. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for all the fish.